Listen carefully, because what I'm about to say is not just philosophy. It's the dividing line between a life of mediocrity and a life of abundance. Most people spend their lives chasing opportunities, chasing approval, chasing wealth. But chasing is the posture of the desperate, the rhythm of the lost. You see, the man who chases never leads, and the one who leads never chases. Chasing wealth is like chasing your shadow in the desert. You run until your lungs burn, but the closer you think you are, the further it seems to move away. The truth is this: wealth was never meant to be chased. It was meant to be attracted. It was meant to be embodied. You don't hunt wealth, you become it. Look at the giants of history. Henry Ford did not chase wealth. He chased a vision so bold it electrified the imagination of the world. Thomas Edison did not beg for riches. He became an idea machine, a living factory of solutions, and money became a byproduct. Andrew Carnegie said it himself: "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." Wealth was never the target. It was the inevitable consequence of value created, of purpose lived, of courage unleashed. So I ask you now, what are you chasing? Approval? Money? The next shortcut? Or are you willing to become the kind of person for whom wealth is not a prize, but a reflection, a mirror image of who you already are? Because when you become wealth, you stop waiting for life to pay you back, and you start realizing life owes you nothing. It only responds to the energy you radiate. Wealth is not money. Wealth is mindset. Wealth is clarity. Wealth is power over yourself when everything else feels out of control. Wealth is when your vision is so alive within you that people feel richer just by being in your presence. Money can be stolen, lost, inflated, deflated, burned to ashes. But true wealth, the kind I speak of, can never be taken. It resides in your discipline, your habits, your relentless pursuit of mastery. The poor in spirit run after coins like beggars. The wealthy in spirit become the fountain from which coins flow. Do you understand? The universe does not respond to need, it responds to creation. Need repels. Creation attracts. To chase wealth is to scream, "I lack." But to become wealth is to declare, "I am." And in that declaration, the world rearranges itself. So let me pull you deeper. To become wealth, you must first master the battlefield of the mind. Your mind is the furnace, the crucible, the workshop of every fortune, every empire, every breakthrough that has ever existed. Napoleon Hill said it best: "What the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But understand this: it is not enough to conceive, and it is not enough to believe. You must become the embodiment of that belief until it drips from your tone, your posture, your decisions. Until the air around you whispers your conviction before your mouth ever opens. Wealth begins in stillness, not in chasing. In that stillness, you align with vision. Ask yourself, what is the vision you hold so clearly that it pulls you forward even when the nights are long and the road is merciless? Edison failed thousands of times, but his wealth was not in the light bulb. It was in the unbreakable clarity of his vision. Lincoln lost election after election, yet his wealth was not the presidency. It was the steel of his character forged in the fire of defeat. Disney was told he lacked imagination. Ford was mocked for his horseless carriage. Yet their wealth was not measured in dollars. It was measured in resilience, creativity, and the refusal to bow to the opinions of the small-minded. You must ask yourself, am I chasing wealth, or am I becoming it? Because the man who chases will exhaust himself, but the man who becomes wealth will attract it effortlessly. Like a magnet, unseen yet undeniable, he pulls resources, people, and opportunities into orbit. Not because he begged for them, but because he became impossible to ignore. Discipline is wealth. Focus is wealth. Self-belief is wealth. Gratitude is wealth. Every morning you rise early, when others are still sleeping in the comfort of their excuses, you are becoming wealth. Every time you push through resistance, when your body screams to quit, you are becoming wealth. Every time you say no to distraction and yes to vision, you are writing invisible checks that the universe will later cash in your favor. Wealth is not found in the chase, it is found in the transformation. And transformation does not come cheap. Costs your old identity. Costs your comfort zone. It costs the version of you that wants everything easy. You cannot chase wealth and keep your excuses. You cannot chase wealth and cling to your fears. You cannot chase wealth while living as a servant to your doubts. No, wealth requires sacrifice. Not the sacrifice of your soul, but the sacrifice of your weakness, your laziness, your false beliefs about who you are. When you rise in the morning, don't ask, how do I chase wealth today? Instead ask, how do I become the kind of person for whom wealth is inevitable? That shift, subtle yet seismic, is where destiny begins to move. To become wealth, you must understand the law of cause and effect, not as a theory, but as a law etched into the fabric of reality. Every thought you nurture is a seed. Every belief you water becomes a tree, and every tree bears fruit, whether bitter or sweet. If your mind is poisoned with doubt, with scarcity, with envy, then the fruit of your life will reflect that poison. But if your mind is disciplined, filled with faith, vision, and persistence, then your life must, by law, mirror that abundance. This is not superstition. It is the architecture of existence. Look at the history of men who started with nothing but an idea. Carnegie was a poor Scottish immigrant with no money, no connections, no safety net. But he planted seeds of thought so powerful, so audacious, that they grew into an empire of steel. Walt Disney walked the streets with holes in his shoes, rejected by bankers who laughed at his dreams. Yet his vision was so alive within him that it outlasted their mockery. What they saw as fantasy, he held as certainty. That is the difference. That is what it means to become wealth. Belief is not a casual hope. It is not wishing upon a star. Belief is the iron conviction that bends the universe to your will. When Edison was told his experiments were failures, he responded, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is not mere optimism. That is belief weaponized, belief forged into a sword sharp enough to cut through discouragement. Ask yourself right now, what do you truly believe about yourself? Not what you tell others, not the mask you wear, but the deep echo in your heart when the world is silent. Do you believe you are worthy of abundance? Do you believe you are capable of greatness? Or do you secretly believe you are destined to remain small, to remain unseen, to remain chained by the opinions of others? Because whatever you believe, you will manifest, not because life is unfair, but because life is obedient to belief. Clarity is wealth. Without clarity, you are a ship without a compass, drifting wherever the waves push you. And let me tell you, the ocean of life is merciless to the aimless. Opportunities will pass you by, not because they don't exist, but because you won't recognize them. A man with no vision cannot seize fortune, for he does not know what fortune looks like. Look again at Ford. Before the automobile existed in the public imagination, he saw it clearly. When others demanded faster horses, he envisioned a machine that would change civilization. That clarity became wealth. It magnetized resources, attracted investors, and ignited innovation. When your vision is sharp enough, the world will conspire to bring it to life. But when your vision is blurry, even the greatest opportunity will appear invisible. So I ask you, what is your vision? Not the shallow dream of a nicer car or a bigger house. Those are byproducts. I mean the vision that sets your soul on fire. The vision that outlives you. The vision that will be spoken of long after you are gone. Have you defined it? Or are you chasing crumbs while starving for a feast that only your vision can provide? Wealth begins with that vision. Purpose sharpens it, discipline fuels it, and action builds it brick by brick. Without vision, discipline is torture. Without purpose, action feels empty. But when vision, purpose, discipline, and action align, you become unstoppable. You cease to be a person who chases wealth. You become the embodiment of wealth itself. Think of the pyramids of Egypt. Do you think such monuments were built by men who merely wanted money? No, those stones were lifted by vision, stacked by purpose, and secured by discipline. Think of the skyscrapers piercing the sky of New York. Do you think steel bent itself into shape for the timid? No, those towers rose from the audacity of men and women who envisioned what others called impossible. And now it is your turn to carve your vision into reality, You must first cleanse your mind of the poison that corrodes clarity. Envy, comparison, fear. These are the termites of wealth. They gnaw at the beams of your foundation until your house collapses under its own weight. Comparison kills vision because it blinds you with the illusion that your race is someone else's. But your vision is not meant to be measured against theirs. The oak tree does not envy the rose, nor does the eagle resent the lion. Each fulfills its own vision, and in that fulfillment lies its wealth. Gratitude sharpens vision. You cannot see clearly when your eyes are fogged with complaints. Gratitude wipes the glass clean, reminding you of the resources already within your grasp. Every breath is wealth.